welcome back to my channel. My name is Deanna, and today I wanted to make a video about talking about my son Nicholas. He has been diagnosed with autism, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that. If you guys are also needing to test your son or daughter for autism, or suspect it, or maybe you have a son or daughter who has autism, or you just want to know more information on it. I don't have a lot of information for you today about it because it's a very general and it's very different for every kid. But my son was diagnosed with it. It took about 2.5 months for that to happen. Basically, I'm going to tell you how it happened and things I've noticed, because honestly, I'm just learning. I basically got called down to the school over the phone. They just said, hey, we'd like you to come in and we'd like to have a meeting with you. And basically they just said, we want to get a diagnosis. And I was like, I didn't really think anything of it, because when the school calls, I have anxiety. So honestly, I have very hard time asking questions or answering questions. A lot. That I'm gonna make a video on my anxiety in a minute, but so basically I went down to the school and they had a couple of teachers in there. One of his actual teacher, and then a couple of counselors. He has a counselor that goes on and off site. He works around the district basically with other kids, and then he has a school counselor. He has a special ed teacher. So I met with them, and it wasn't an IEP meeting. It was basically just a meeting that was just needed. And they said, we don't know how to tell you this really, but we think that your son may have autism, and we would like to get him diagnosed and work on that. And I was like, oh, how do I do that? They're like, we have a way to just sort of help you with that. We have caseworkers, we have people that will set up the appointments, basically do all the work for you. You just have to be available for appointments, and they make house calls, and they just come to the house and work with you. Oh my gosh, the sunlight. Yeah, I gotta move. So I worked with a caseworker. She was awesome. And then I had another caseworker come here. I don't know if they're both caseworkers, or I don't remember exactly. But I worked with 2 people that set up appointments and came to my house, and I filled out paperwork and answered a whole bunch of questions. And this was a very lengthy process. It really did take 2.5 months. So I went and saw I always mess this up if it's a psychologist. I think it's a psychologist. Basically, he got a psych eval, and he was tested for autism through the school and filled out paperwork. I went and saw this doctor 2 times, and I filled out paperwork of my own several times. Some of this took hours. They basically called it my homework. And then yesterday was my appointment, my second appointment with the psychologist, and he told me that he tested positive for autism. So when I was first told that he might have autism, I didn't really blink. I didn't react. I was honestly, they were like, does this sound right to you? Does this, what do you think? And I was like, yes, I definitely think so. There's been so many signs. There's a lot of stimming, arm flapping, he doesn't have good eye contact, and he makes noises. I don't know how to explain that, but he does make really loud noises, and basically he struggles a lot with his schoolwork, making friends. His personality is just different than other kids that I've noticed, and a lot of I didn't really know what autism was, honestly, if I'm completely 100% honest. I just thought it was basically a form of, what is it called, mental retardation. I did not understand what it was. All I know is that you see kids that have it, that's very noticeable, very noticeable. You notice it you know, maybe you come across them when you go to the gym. And, or, which is where I've noticed it before, is I was at the gym and I noticed several times that there was someone there that I was like, okay, they're special needs, they're mental, they're not mental, I don't, mental retardation, is that what it's called? They don't call it that anymore. I knew what autistic was, and I was like, okay, that child is autistic. And maybe the other thing I said was completely different. I feel like that's a bad word to say, the mental thing. I think that's inappropriate, and I apologize for saying it, but that is like a thought, like, I guess olden day thought or word for it, but basically I'm just gonna go with ASD and autistic. Like, that's just, and so what was I saying? I noticed like people at the grocery store, sometimes they're adults, sometimes they're just a kid, and sometimes it's very noticeable with Nicholas. It's been in question since he was 5, and even before that I just didn't know how to advocate for myself that there was something wrong or different with my child that I needed to have addressed. I was a young parent. I was 18 when I had Nicholas, and all I knew is that he had ADHD and that I had brought him to the doctor. I had gone to so many speech therapists and IEP meetings, and I addressed it in every way that I could. And I think part of it was like teachers and everyone are very cautious to like mention autism, and they seem very cautious. They always have, and they tiptoe around it. And so they don't, I feel like with Nicholas, you know, he's 10 now, so it took a really long time to actually have someone notice it so much where they're like, we're pretty sure he has it and he needs to be tested and diagnosed, because we can help him more once we get that diagnosis. It's good to have that label for school purposes, because then other teachers will know why he's acting the way he does, and they don't have to be like, what's going on with this child? And like they just know, and they're more understanding, and I really, really like that. He's going to be seeing that psychologist again. He is going to be having more appointments, and I can call and ask him questions anytime I need to, and I have a caseworker that will be working with him, and other like programs and services that will be available to him now. I apologize if I offended anybody with this video. I don't like, when this all happened, I really had no idea. I was speechless. I had no idea anything about it. There's a lot that I'm not saying here because it's very private matter. I mean, this has to do with my son and his basically diagnosis and medical conditions, and I just feel like, you know, this is a private matter, but I wanted to share it with you guys and ask for your advice, what you guys think, if there's things that I could be doing. His psychologist and doctor always recommend less screen time, less electronics, and more help with him with like social aspect and getting him out in the community doing things. And they, you know, they tell me that he's basically going to respond in like a flat, monotone, sometimes ish way. That sounds wrong. I might redo this video, guys, because I just feel like this is coming out all wrong, and I don't want it to come across as just an ignorant parent, because I don't know how to explain this. Like, I'm very new to this, so this is a hard video to make if I decide to make it. So basically that's what's going on, and I'm a new parent finding out, and just trying to do the best that I can for my son. And I feel like there's not many steps that I really need to make. You know, I accept him fully for the way that he is. I love him for the way that he is, and I'm just gonna go from there and just help him any way that we can and be there for him, basically. Anyway, that's basically all I have for this video. I might redo it just because I feel like I'm having a hard time making this video. What to say, how to say it, and like make it something that's worthwhile watching for you guys, because, you know, this is just so new to me. So this is the raw, unedited version. So here it is. But thank you so much for watching. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. I'm going to be making more videos on it, and if I feel like I can or need to, like updating maybe you guys on like situation. Is that, I don't know how to describe this at all, guys. Like, this is so foreign to me. It's like a language I don't know. So yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.